Hi everyone, and welcome to the Chasing Past Golf Podcast. Where in this episode, I'm joined by LPGA Tour caddy Scottie Leonard at Worldwide Scottie. If you want to follow him on Instagram, there you go. Scottie, mate, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. As some of your listeners might know, I live in the greater Los Angeles area, so interesting 2 days, but happily that me and girlfriend are safe. But it's been a hard couple days and have lost a lot of families have lost their homes that I'm close to. So, but other than that, we're doing okay. And I've been a long time listener of your podcast, so to come on and geek out about golf and forget about what's going on outside is pretty cool. So I'm happy to be here.
So you were actually touching off there that you can actually there's parts of it where you can still you can smell the smoke and you can see the smoke from the fires. Is that true?
Yeah, I definitely can still see and still smell the smoke and the burning. The wind has died down a little bit, so a lot of the fires are able to use air now. That wasn't the case in the first couple of days, so that's why one of the big reasons why they spread so fast and why there is so much smoke. But I think and hope and pray that we are on the back end of it, that it's not so windy.
So obviously, in such a tragic event, like how does that impact your life as well, like in terms of like your working arrangements or whatever or your day-to-day arrangements actually that consist of.
Not too much. Again, not too much. Just trying to be professional and be safe and take myself into safe environments. And other than that, it doesn't affect it hugely. Other than reaching out to folks. So um, I'm eager to get off this couch and go work and start the LPGA season. I'll say that.
So actually, speaking into the season, so we've got it'll be 4 weeks for yourself, but the LPG Tour season starts again in 3 weeks' time at Lake Nona for the Tournament of Champions. The week after that is Bradenton in Florida. What do you know of the course in Bradenton in Florida? Because last year, I believe it was the first time that they had played the course, and I think mixed reviews was the kind of view from specifically a couple of the caddies that I spoke to.
Yeah, so Bradenton Country Club, we played the drive on event there last year. Was the first tournament. I thought it was a good golf course. It's very fair. It was blowing pretty good. It was pretty windy to start the year off, so it wasn't the easiest golf course to caddy. It definitely, I think, favors being kind of long off the tee. Just think of 17 off the top of my head. Um, there's one nine can play a long par three. I think we hit big club in there, maybe eight, maybe yeah. I don't know that club, but nine is a longer par three. So yeah, not my favorite golf course, but certainly I think a good one to start the year off. You can definitely make some eagles. I know we made an eagle on eight. It's definitely gettable five. I was caddying for Elizabeth Szokol last year, so she is one of the longer players. So it was definitely fun to attack some of these different holes. That forgot there's another par five on the back that you can hit over water, but it's all carry. So it's a good golf course. It's going to play pretty firm, especially if it's windy and dries out. So I'm excited about it. I think it sets up good for my boss Ingrid, who is one of the longer players. So excited to get out there and excited to get going.
Obviously, obviously, people that follow like the amateur game will definitely know. Like obviously, Ingrid Lindblad is one of the modern day greats when it comes to the amateur game. Obviously, she's had to she's turned professional obviously and went to the Epson Tour, where obviously yous were together. Yous managed to get the win. We'll go into that in a little bit, but like even for her as a player, what are the kind of expectations been like? Obviously, the transition from amateur golf to pro golf. I take it there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about that, and I don't think we bought into a lot of the pressure, even though we know it's there. And we know other people were going to put that pressure just because of what she accomplished. But I thought it was good for us that we didn't put added pressure on ourselves. Now we have expectations of her being a professional, me being a professional, of things we both want to accomplish, but you can't get ahead of yourself, and you really have to just go day by day to get better. And listen, like the first time I worked for Ingrid, we missed the cut at the British Open at Walton Heath. And then the next time I worked for Ingrid, we missed the cut in the first Epson event that I worked for in Oregon. So it could only get better. Then the next week we finished second. But all of those things, I think, kind of just humbled us both. And it was like, okay, this isn't going to come just because we are who we are. This is going to come because we put the work in, because we put the right strategies, and it ended up all clicking. She played great the remainder of the year, and locked up her tour card. And so it all worked out. But yeah, I think we try to keep our own expectations as minimal as can, and just try to get better each and every day, and hope it's enough on Sunday when they add up the scores.
Yeah, if Johnny Lane is listening, I take it. What are your words of encouragement for him? Obviously, he was the one that picked you with Fati Fernandez Cano.
Yeah, I still want that we play hole number 18 over in Prattville. You never know what happens, but we got the chance to play with Fatima and Johnny in the Epson Tour Championship, the final round, and they were great. They played great. We played great. It was just a fun to be around. Fatima's so talented, and Johnny's just hilarious and quick witted, and we were cracking jokes the whole time out there. So it was just fun, and yeah, hopefully we'll get to see a lot of Johnny Lane on a lot of Saturdays and Sundays. Now that we're both on the LPGA with our players, because I got a feeling Fatima and Ingrid will be there quite a bit.
So as you kind of look towards the season, is there any specific goals in mind for like yourself as a caddy that you're looking to, well, either get better with or just to like see how it goes?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think of course, you want to win, right? Like this is why we all do that, right? We all get up in the morning, and while we spend so much time on the golf course, because we want to win and we want to compete at the highest level. So I don't think that's out of the question, saying that a goal is to get a win or clip off a couple wins this year for Ingrid. But other than that, just want to keep continuing to get better. It's a weird thing caddying, right? Because it's like we don't have any evaluation other than what our player score is, right? So you could do a really shit job and your player could shoot 10 under. You could do a great job and your player shoot 3 over. And so, like, there's no way to actually evaluate how you're doing other than what your boss thinks of you on that day. And so, for me, it's always just trying to be as consistent as possible and do the same thing, react the same way, whether your player's shooting, 63 or 73. So, I think just continuing to get better, continuing to work on your craft, continuing to take studious notes Monday through Wednesday about the golf course, and you just learn from experience. And the good thing is going into year number 6 now. So with that said, I've seen a lot out there and feel like I'm so much better prepared as a caddy than I was when I first started. And hopefully that can lead into a win.
And in terms of like the category for Ingrid next year, like she finished 6th on the Epson Tour, and so the likes of Fatima, the likes of Ingrid, Lauren Stevenson, Cassie Porter, players like that. I take it. What's the kind of the category bracket that you fall under, and how much how many events would you expect to be on next year on the LPGA? Well, this
Yeah.
year.
So off the top of my head, I might be wrong about this. So tell your people online not to fact check me if they go look this up. But I want to say it's category 13 off the top of my head. is the top 10 of Epson. And so that basically gives you a full card into everything that's not limited field, right? So we won't be in like Thailand or Singapore. And then we'll have to play our way into match play. We'll have to play our way into majors, and would have to play our way into, the Asia events in October. But as far as all the like full field events, she's guaranteed to be in all of them.
No, interesting. I always find it interesting with the different category statuses and like where you're gonna have to like play yourself into them and stuff. Like it just interests me, to be honest. So
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I don't think most people know that are kind of just fans or not in the game, what categories and how they break down. But you can go, I'm sure it's online, and if you look hard enough, I'm sure you can find it. And if you really, really can't find it, you can ask me. But you can get the priority list for the beginning of the year. Then it's a reshuffle. And so then after the reshuffle, there's a new priority list. And then after the reshuffle, again, at the end of the year, based on the CME points awarded, your top 80, your winners, there becomes another priority list.
So going back to the first event in Bradenton, I take it with yourself having that experience with Elizabeth Szokol last year that the course knowledge that you gained will maybe play a big factor in helping Ingrid.
I hope so. Yeah, I learned a lot being there. It's a golf course where you definitely want to pick clubs and clubs off the tee correctly. Like probably no driver on 18. You stay underneath the holes as much as possible. So just little things like that. There's certain pins where you have to be aggressive. Because if you're not aggressive, you're going to miss in bigger spots. So I think all of those experiences really helped me. I'll go back and I'll watch the final round if I can find it on YouTube. And then obviously, as we start getting closer, go look at the yardage book from last year. Start looking at like what wind directions we had, what clubs we hit, and then obviously making notes of the pins as well. So, yeah.
And obviously, we'll go into your kind of caddy show a little bit. Well, in a little bit actually, but like you've had the likes of Jason McDeed and Paul Cormack on the show, and I believe at that time they were 1 and 2 last year with Nelly and Lydia. So have they been feeding you any tips on how to play?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I tell all the people all the time that Paul Cormack's maybe the biggest influence outside of Josh Williams on my caddy career. I was ready to quit at a time, and I was a year and a half in, and Paul said, "Stay with me if you can afford it. Just stay because you're never going to get a job going home." And it all kind of worked out looking back, and we had a great car ride that I'm sure was nothing for him, but I look back on there, that means everything to me. And to see the success that he's had with Lydia after he came back from the PGA Tour, I mean, there's not many people that work harder, and there's not many people that deserve more success than what Paul Cormack's achieved. On Jay, Jay, I think, doesn't get enough credit. I always tell him that. I mean, listen, we all know how good Nelly Korda is. But the fact that he's so good in so many situations down the stretch on so many different type of golf courses and continues to help put her over the edge. He's probably the most undervalued person in professional golf as far as what they do to help success. He still walks golf courses Monday morning. He figures out exactly what his player needs. And anytime I can give Jay McDee his flowers, because I see it every week, he deserves all of
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like they seem to be like the super team together, Jason and Nelly. It just seems to click, like as
Yeah.
you seen last year.
Yeah, and I mean, you hear it when Nelly talks about, this year, the wins. One of the first things she always talks about is her team, and it's hard to find someone that's more important to her team than Jay. So, those guys are both people that I lean on, that I ask questions to, and it was really cool to have them both on the show. Hopefully, people listened and maybe learned a little bit. So, those are two, and they're good people too. Like regardless of their caddy skills, they're good people.
So in terms of your own like journey,
Yeah.
so I take it you played golf growing up as well, and like how did you kind of first discover it?
No, I played no golf growing up. Like I am as far away from what I
A bit,
do now as you could
a bit like
imagine.
me, a bit like me to be fair.
um, I grew up playing basketball, football, and all the sports that, I figured out quickly that being slow, unathletic, and 5'10" wasn't good at. Uh, um, so I came to golf. I came to golf very, very late. I came to golf in my 17s and 18-year-olds, and I learned to play a little bit, but more before I even learned really to play golf, I learned to caddy because I caddied when I first went to college, and I needed a part-time job. And so I was working at a golf course, and I was a cart guy, like cleaning carts and getting them ready. And I figured out pretty quick the people that were making the most money at the golf course were the caddies. And so I then basically taught myself caddying and golf. That's why I'm still no good. I still can't break 80. So, but I just figured out caddying pretty quickly. And at the end of the day, I feel like club caddying, especially, is really all about service and just being there and hustling and giving effort and making people laugh at the right time, making people get fired up at the right time. And so I just kind of figured it out. And between that and then got an opportunity to go to Q school, and here we are 6.5 years later.
Like for someone with like as you've even put it, like limited golfing ability, like how difficult is it like to get like one of the most pivotal jobs in golf with the lack of like, ability? Does that play into effect at any point?
It's extremely
Do you need to sorry, do you need
yeah.
to do you need to have that, like you used to play golf growing up, like that kind of thing?
I think for certain guys, and for certain players, it can definitely help. But I also think that you can learn it too. Like I think you can learn what certain lies are going to do. I think you can learn how to read grain and greens and how to understand wind and trajectory levels. I think the learning curve is a lot easier if you played good golf, or if you played competitive golf yourself. But I've done a lot of psychology and understand the way brain works in pressure situations, and it's not just those little things. It's always trying to do more that I've really taught myself. And one of the things I think is unique is I don't necessarily have a playing background at all, so the way that I view certain things is purely from my player or my boss's perspective, that I don't have like an going into a certain situation with an ingrained way of thinking about golf, which I think helps me caddy because I'm not predestined to any thoughts. I'm entirely looking at it from my boss's perspective. And so in some ways, I think it's actually an advantage.
And in terms of like, the yardage boots that you get for like the caddies and stuff, like how did you specifically learn that? Like obviously that's the most pivotal role in the job, is to learn about like all the yardages, the wind directions, etc., etc. I've seen the inside of a caddy boot before, and it's like, what the hell's going on here? It's like it's very confusing.
Yeah, the yardage books could be overwhelming, especially if you're not used to them. And especially the books that we get from Jeff Collington, which by far are the best yardage books on any tour. Number one golf. With that said, I just asked questions. And I learned and I walked golf courses with other people and saw what they were doing. And, also too, I can't really say enough about my first boss, Jennifer Chang, who took me to Q school for the first time. We made it through all three stages after she left USC. And to be honest, I probably had no I should have not kept the job as long as I kept the job because I didn't know enough to effectively be a best caddy for her. But she stuck with me. She let me learn on the fly, and you know, just learn, ask questions, and be around the game as much as possible, and you'll pick up quite a bit of knowledge.
And for yourself, like in regards to the caddy books and stuff, like how long did that take for you to kind of grasp everything on the job?
Yeah. To really understand it and like fill out a full yardage book to the way that I like a yardage book. Oh man, I mean 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like I'll go look at some of my old yardage books and I'll be like, what was I thinking? What was I drawing here? Like where's all my stuff? And now I look at it and I use different people make fun of me all the time, but like I use different colors for certain things. I'm pretty detailed in my yardage books because it helps me. I usually always just carry a pin sheet in my back pocket. I don't use the pin sheet like to write on. All of that's already done in the yardage book for me. So my yardage books are pretty detailed, and it would probably takes me the better half of 30 something hours to put together the yardage book correctly.
And when it comes to like the job in general, what would you say is the hardest thing about trying to be a successful caddy?
Hardest thing about being a successful caddy, I think, is there's not a lot of sick days. There's not a lot of days where you can like, hey, I don't feel great. Like I need to take a personal day. Like no, there's none of that, right? It's like, hey, I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you have a headache. I don't care if stuff at home's not great or certain things didn't get delivered or whatever. Like you got to go every day, get up early in the morning and spend 6, 7 hours out there in pure competition. And you got to be the voice of reason for your player. And that can wear on you when we're talking about doing that 27, 30 weeks a year. So I think that's the hardest part is, being, you don't get to take a day, right? And so you got to be on when you park that car in caddy parking until you're back at that car, you're on stage and you have to bring the goods or you won't last.
And in terms of like the tournament days, well, the tournament weeks, sorry. Um, like obviously you got mass crowds, etc. Do you enjoy like seeing all the mass crowds out in display?
Yeah, for sure. Like I like that. Like I tell everybody all the time, you gotta like you gotta like Monday through Wednesday as much as you like Sunday afternoon if you're gonna be successful. Because that's where tournaments get won and lost.
Interesting. No, I kind of agree, obviously, but yeah, interesting.
Like, and that's the misconception about like what we do, like players, caddies, like professional golf. It's like when you turn on your TV on NBC, like you only see the very best players playing the back nine. But that player's probably been there since Monday and has been playing either some Monday or Tuesday, that golf course, right? And they've done that consecutively for probably the last 3 weeks or sometimes 4 weeks. And so that can wear on you so much. So also too, there's a great sense of taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. Sometimes you can play in, super rainy, cold, wet conditions, and sometimes it can be 100 degrees and sweltering outside. So it's like you got to be able to prepare yourself in all those different environments.
And when it comes to Ingrid Lindblad, like for those that maybe are a little bit unaccustomed to like who Ingrid is, how would you kind of like describe her personality on the course, off the course? Like, how would you describe her? What are like her strengths and weaknesses? Like, you obviously get a front row seat to see like what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many strengths. That comes first. I mean, she's got all the goods. The most impressive thing I think about Ingrid is she is not afraid of anything. She's not afraid of any shot. She's got the confidence to pull it out, which is great for me because I can really caddy freely then. Is like I don't really need to like stay away from anything, right? Is we can be as aggressive as we need to be in order to make birdies that day. You know, she's hilarious as just like her personality. She loves jokes. She loves to talk, way more than I think people would realize. But like if she has a talkative playing partner, like they'll be talking all day long. And Ingrid loves to talk about golf shots. She loves to talk about her beloved LSU Tigers. So we keep it pretty light, keep it pretty simple. And she's just fun to be around. She's got a very infectious, I think, personality that, you know, is very inviting and she's fun, very fun to be around. Which makes it really cool to spend 7-8 hours with someone like that.
So in your 5 years, well, fully as a caddy, what would you what would you say is your kind of proudest achievement so far?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Obviously the win with Ingrid last year at Tuscaloosa on the Epson comes to mind just because it's the one that sticks out and it's my only win. You know, maybe helping Linnea get her card at Q School in 22 when we played with the likes of Akia Fury, Haijen Choi, Hanako Shibuno. Like to be in those final groups and get her card was cool. You know, I guess I still would probably go back to the win because that just there's something about winning that changes the dynamic of how you look at it. Because like you work that hard, you know you can do it again. And so probably just that win and how we won too. I mean, she made 5 straight birdies on the back 9. You know, we only shot 2 under on the front 9 was kind of boring. And to get in that mode of being a chaser and to not look back that Sunday, that was pretty cool.
I thought maybe you would have said was it Pebble Beach you were caddying at the US Open, or was it the year before that?
Yeah, I caddied at for Annie Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe obviously the prestige of Pebble Beach, obviously you being from California as well, that would have been right at the top of the.
It was cool, but that was a hard 2 days that I was there. So we'll just keep it at that.
Have you played Pebble Beach anyway? So obviously being a Cal.
I've played Pebble Beach twice, yes. Before we had the US Open there. So I was familiar with it. And man, I mean, I know it's expensive and I know it's hard to plan that trip, but if you're a golfer, for me, it's right up there with crossing it off the list to play St. Andrews and to, you know, get to Augusta. Like Pebble Beach is a special place. And it's the thing about Pebble, like it's not that hard. Like you can score at Pebble.
Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to like the steep cliff edges and stuff, like is it as high as what it looks like on the camera screen?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like number 8, like where Spieth almost went in, like that is you could easily they've since put like railing up so people don't go down there and try to hit that shot. But yes, it's scary, especially like if you're not a heights person, like it can be very scary. By the way, you talk about an underrated hard hole, number 8 at Pebble. Because you can't hit driver because then it goes too far. So you got to hit like either like a 5-wood or hybrid, and then you got like 190 over that cliff, and usually you're blowing dead into. So yeah, no, what a hole that is.
Yeah, to be fair, Pebble Beach just looks like a special place. Like, to be fair, if we were to go over to probably one of the events on the PGA, that's probably top of the list. Maybe that
Yeah.
and, well, Party Town, Scottsdale, but
But hey, that's a fun environment too. I've been there. I've drinking a lot of vodka cranberry sitting on 16 before, but those are my younger days, Craig. I'm an old man now.
you didn't like throw like beer bottles and that, like if there was a near hole in one or whatever, did you?
No, no, they cost too much, man. That's why you don't throw them, you drink them.
Not fair. Like, to be fair, you could tell all the other people at Scottsdale about that. Like, look how much it costs just to, just to drink it. Why would you throw
So,
it?
so wait, about 16 is like if you're on 16, you get one of these wristbands, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know, I don't know, I didn't pay for it, but you just scan when you want to get a drink, you just scan this wristband, and it's free. It's like all inclusive of your ticket. So, that's probably why.
Fair enough.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't know that till I went. So
I take it that was another like course that was like I think for most people, like if you're into the partisan atmosphere and stuff, that's probably top of the list. Was it as good as what you expected it to be?
we're done. Arizona's TPC. TPC.
Sorry, still on
You know,
Scottsdale.
what's funny is I went and a played on a buddy's golf trip probably 3 or 4 years before I went to the tournament. When it's a very, I would say, average golf course if there's not all the stuff around. Like 17 just looks like a normal par three, you know. But yeah, 16, and then 17 is like the drivable par four.
Mhm.
Without the stadium, it's a very normal or hole. Like it doesn't feel as cool until they build all the stands.
No, fair enough. What would you say is your kind of your favorite event that you carried out? It could be anywhere.
Yeah. Probably my favorite, and my favorite event that I've caddied at was the KPMG 2020 at Atlanta Athletic. No, sorry, that at oh, can't think of the name. Not Atlanta Athletic. Um, the one I was right outside Philly. Um,
To be fair, my mind doesn't go back that far, but
Aronimink.
Aronimink. Oh, okay, yeah. That,
Yes, that's probably my favorite event that I've done.
that's supposed to be a very tough golf course as well, isn't it?
That was very hard, but cool. Like really cool, super old school, like old school Philadelphia. Like you drive around and like you don't really see anything, and then you take this left through a gate, and there's this immaculate property. Number one is like just straight up the hill, like super hard, super long. I think we had 3 wood into it one day. Just really, really cool golf.
And so, as I was kind of alluded to earlier, that you've got you're part of a joint caddy show with your friend Drew. Like you
Easy
do.
with the word friend, Craig.
What?
I'm just joking. Yeah,
I was about to say, are you pulling my piss on here or what? But
yeah.
not like no, obviously you've kind of got your own like YouTube show,
Yeah.
interviewing caddies and stuff. Like where did all that start about? And like I take it it's something you enjoy.
Yeah, no, we have so much fun with it, and like you said, I do it with Drew Hinesley, who's been on the PGA Tour, who's been on the LPGA Tour, and longtime caddy. Now, does works production for golf events for NBC. But you know, I had found out that he had a podcast, probably maybe like 2018, 2019. And I found it and I sent it to him and I said, Drew, I said, what happened to this podcast you were doing? Like, this is so cool. And he said, well, yeah, I used to do it, but don't really do it anymore. And I said, well, you have to bring it back. You have to get some caddies in. We'll talk about the women's game and, we'll give it some go. And he said, well, I'll only brew it on one condition, is if you do it with me and you're my co-host. So that was maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. And so we've been doing it ever since. And it's really cool because it's very caddy centric, hence the name My Side of the Bag. And what we really wanted to do is just tell different caddies' perspectives. And that's why you'll never see a player on there. And it's very, very our view of the world of golf through a lens of being a caddy. And we try to give caddy advice up there. We have caddies talk about their journeys up there, all different situations a caddy could be in. And we just try to shed light on an area of golf that we feel isn't really talked about a lot or enough. And that's the guys carrying the golf bag or women carrying the golf bag. And so that's what it's been. And it's been a fun journey. And we are thankful for people like you that give it a listen.
How many episodes do you think that you've done together? If I had put you on the spot, how many do you think you've managed to do?
Man.
Like obviously, I don't know. I've not counted, but like if you had the rough estimate.
Yeah, we haven't numbered them. I'm gonna go 50.
I'll look it later, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I'll put the over under on 50. So yeah.
I mean that's a good amount to be fair. Like obviously we were talking about Jason McDeed and Paul Cormack and caddies like that, but you've had the likes of legendary Paul Tesori. You've had who else have you had? Well, you've had Paul Pizzanti, who caddies for Lily Abu at the minute.
Yep.
I believe you had Colin Can as well. Was that
Boutillier? Yep. Colin Can, Les Lewerk. So yeah, no, we've had a good little stint. We got some good guests coming. I don't want to spoil it, so just keep checking and we'll let you know when it drops. But there's some good PGA Tour guys coming on in the next couple of weeks. So it's been fun and it's been a fun project and I think keeps me connected to the world of other caddies, and hearing the stories only makes me better, and seeing how other guys do it. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I was saying maybe in a couple of days' time I'll listen to the Paul Tesori one because I believe Paul Tesori, you're probably going to learn a thing or two for someone that's been on the tour for about 25 years or something like that.
You should have Paul on this podcast. Don't make him follow me though, because no one will listen to this. But you should definitely have PT on there. I mean, he's obviously for those that don't know, he works for Paul or Tom Kim now, and they've had a pretty good run. So yeah, Paul's one of the not only best caddies, he's one of the best people in golf.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Paul on the brief occasion, like over the past couple of seasons, but like obviously with him being on the PGA Tour full time with, well, it was Cameron Young, then Brendan Todd, then now with Tom Kim. But yeah, he's always super busy, that man, isn't he? So he's super busy.
Hey, that's what happens. You make a lot of money. These guys are all These guys are all crushing it at the PGA Tour.
Like obviously I'll see for myself, but was there any like, just for the listeners, like in the Tesori episode, was there any like really funny stories or good storytelling?
Um, I would say go listen to the Reynolds Robinson podcast. And
Yeah.
Reynolds talks about going to Paris to watch his son compete in the Olympics. It brought him to tears talking about it. And so I would say if there's something that you want to learn, just like feel good, go watch the Reynolds Robinson podcast, because I think that was some of our best by far. And then I thought the Matt Minister one was good that we just had, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. For those that don't know, Matt Minister used to caddy for Patrick Cantley, now caddies for Justin Thomas. So,
I mean, two good bags to be fair.
he's done okay. Yes, he's done okay.
So if you don't mind me asking, what like between yourself and Drew, what's the intention for 2025 to kind of like grow and get bigger, like kind of like myself? Like, would you say that's one of the main goals?
Yeah, I think we want to keep growing it. We want more people to see it. We want more people to listen to it. Would love to get a couple more sponsors for the show. But if we don't, I think that's okay. We set it out. We didn't do this project to become multimillionaires on it. We did it really to try to help educate people about the lives of caddies. And if we can grow that, we can share that information with more people and be a service to caddies, and this is really our one way of giving back to the world of caddying, then I think we're going to be happy at the end of the day. And I'm very happy with where it's at. But of course, we would welcome more listeners and more eyeballs to watch us goof around and make some sense out of the golf world and two crazy ass caddies. Then okay.
Do you think you could? Do you think you can maybe get T Mac, Terry McNamara? Like that'd be very interesting.
I don't know if we've asked T-Mac yet. Maybe we'll save him for a special episode.
Well, a special episode. Maybe save it for like the Canadian Open when LC's defending or something like
When
that.
she's defending, yeah. Maybe I'll have LC's good friend. So maybe I'll ask LC to ask Terry.
There you go.
Maybe I feel like that might be the way to get Terry is go through LC. Or, I do have some Swedish connections now, so maybe I'll just have to play those cards and get them.
Yeah, maybe like obviously for those that won't know Terry McNamara, he was a long-term caddy for obviously the legendary, the GOAT, Annika Sorenstam in her glory days. And he recently was on the bag of Lauren Coughlin, and in the midst of the two wins, like it's no surprise really, considering I think he's won over 75 times now, something like that. It's ridiculous.
The numbers staggering. I even think it might be higher. I feel like it might be like 80 something wins.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, when you get caddies that have got one win or two wins, you're happy. But when you got like in the excess of like 75 to 80 range, I can only imagine.
I can't imagine what that's like.
Maybe one day when Ingrid Lindblad wins about like 25 times, like in the space of like 5 years or something.
Buddy, if she wins 20, or if she wins that many times, then we're gonna come back on this show and we're gonna have some proper pints with my Scottish man. How about that?
Why not? Why not? So yeah, for those that want to listen to my side of the bag on YouTube, you can find it on all the providers. It's well, obviously it's pretty insightful. when to be fair, when you think of, well, the general conception of misconception, sorry, of caddies is that, oh, they're just picking up a bag and walking around the course and doing little bits and bobs, but deep down it's a really hard job, isn't it? So,
Yeah, no, it definitely is not an easy job, and something that we tried to really educate people on, and like I said, it's been fun, and if people want to give it a listen and hear more about the caddy world, then I welcome you to give it a listen, and you can watch it too. Everyone's on video, so we get to see everyone's smiling face. So it's
so,
been fun.
so back to like your side, like in terms of this year, if you were to make, say, one or maybe two of the majors this year, is there anywhere that you, in particular, that you'd be like really looking forward to?
I think the U.S. Open at Erin Hills is going to be fantastic. Just because I feel like you can make that place as hard as you want, especially with all the fescue that's around that place. I've never been, but I've only watched and seen golf tournaments there. And then, you know, how should I say this? Um, I don't love, I don't love the Chevron golf course. Carlton Woods doesn't really feel like a major to me. I'll be on record and say that to you. But I would love to get that first major and get the win there. Just because I still think it's kind of the LPGA's #1 major, and talk about it replacing what we placed at the Kraft Nabisco into the ANA, and all the history of that golf tournament. That's probably the one I'd want to win.
Like even in Texas?
Come on now. Listen. It is. Listen, we're gonna play two majors in Texas this year because we're gonna go play Fields Ranch at the PGA Frisco. But yeah, I still think I'd probably want to see the Erin Hills U.S. Open, and then the Chevron Championship.
And in terms of Evian as well, what's your kind of thoughts on Evian as a major championship venue? Do you think it should be still classed as a major championship? Like, no disrespect to like Ayaka Furue and stuff for like the win, well, last year now, but
Yeah. I was caddy for this year with Ingrid, leading after day one and finished okay. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's more of a shootout than it's ever been. It's a little unpredictable with weather, and then I think why everyone gets frustrated with it just because the bounces you get are very unpredictable. Me and you, ball could pitch literally in the same place, and you could end up 5 feet, and I could end up down the hill. So it's a little quirky, and it's not always fair. And I think that gets maximized at a place like Evian, but it's 1 week. We're playing for a lot of money, so I'm happy to go to, Geneva and a really nice part of France in order to compete for a lot of money once a year. So I'll take it.
and I don't know if you ever watched the Evian back, but on the Sunday, like LC, like for majority of that Sunday was absolutely bossing it. Then one shot on 16, like you were talking about obviously the undulation and like some of the unfair bounces and stuff. Her ball stops right in the top of the hill. What one maybe 1 inch, what 1 inch past that it goes right at the hole, and
Yeah.
but it's not right on the top of the hill. She made the bogey, her first bogey of the day, I believe, and then kind of spiraled a little bit. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that just shows you though the undulation of that course.
Yeah, no, and it's, as a caddy, it's really hard to necessarily predict, just because you get so many different things happening out there. But again, it is what it is. I mean, it's definitely a major. It definitely deserves its major title. I know. Not everyone's a fan. I know not everyone goes, but that's fine. More money for us.
Mike Scott, if you're listening, I'm not going to take that Evian victory away from you and Ayaka, I promise.
Mikey Scott. There's a good Scottish lad for you.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually spoke to him for a good 2.5, 3 hours like the other day. So
Oh, full happy hour session.
pretty much it felt like a happy hour. I mean, it was no, like great guy. Obviously very very experienced, and I kind of learnt a lot from him as well. Like even just learning about his story and stuff. Very fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And both Scott boys. Johnny Scott the same way.
And well, obviously the last one would be AIG as well. So this year it's going to Wales at Royal Porthcawl. Obviously last year it was at the Home of Golf at St Andrews, but I think Wales, I think where it's positioned in Wales as well, like it's very susceptible to very high winds, so that could really be an interesting watch, to be fair.
Yeah, the only thing I've heard is that the seniors were there. I want to say maybe a couple years ago, and they got blown off the map literally. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it's gonna be blowing upwards of 20 to 30 every day. So
See if we make it to Port Call. Yeah, if I don't make it back alive, you know what's happened. I've been blown
exactly,
off the door.
exactly. Yeah. You've been around your fair share of wind. I think you'll be just fine.
And are you are you accustomed to like the kind of link style golf course at all?
Yeah, I love it. I started going over when we did Royal Troon in 20. And again, uh, and I know I'm talking to a Scottish man here. I would say it's probably not my favorite type of golf, but for 1 week, I definitely embrace it and think it's fun. And I love going over there. I love the people. I love the town. I love the fact that you can, sometimes tee off at 6 o'clock at night and still play, 18 holes after you get done with the day. So it's the one place on the schedule that we bring our golf clubs over. At least I do, because you usually find time to at least get some type of golf in when you're over there.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they've got much daylight time in the day for your 80, 81, 82, 83, but
I think we can make it happen.
no, I'm
I think
kidding.
we can make it happen.
So I'm just quickly, sorry. I'm just gonna finish off the last few minutes with just like a few general questions, like for yourself. So in terms of like the sports growing up and stuff, you mentioned at the start you were into American football, basketball, and stuff like that. Have you got favorite teams?
I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinal baseball fan. Um, that's number one. The yardage book is St. Louis Cardinals. And then I would say I love my LA Lakers in basketball.
Mhm.
Huge LeBron guy. And I don't really have a football team because I grew up in I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. And they didn't have a football team, and then they got the Rams, but I was already a football fan. So my relationship with the NFL is very complicated, but I love sitting down on Sunday and just watching a bunch of football, but don't really have a team I cheer for.
If you had to really support one, who would it be, DJ?
Wow. The American football?
Hmm.
Oof. Probably the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I mean California, I suppose. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Come on now. You know I'm gonna go West Coast on you.
Definitely.
We stick together out here on the West Coast.
And in terms of the Lakers, what have you made of their like last couple of years? Like I keep up to
Oof.
date occasionally with the basketball, but like in the past few years I've kind of gone out of it a little.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle since they won in 20, in the COVID year, which, I think should be like worth two because that was the hardest one to win. So I feel like LeBron should have another title. But with that said, the last couple of years have just been tough because either the team's not been healthy or we just didn't have enough shooters. So I like the trades we made. We finally got JJ Redick in there as a head coach. And I'm optimistic that we can make a run in the playoffs.
So in terms of like California and well, just outside LA, like for those that haven't been to LA, like how would you kind of describe it? Obviously the ongoing situation is very difficult, but like if you were to take that away, like
Yeah.
you were to sell the idea of Los Angeles to someone, how would you?
There's no better place to live. And I mean, there's no it's the most creative place. It's the most vast place. If you look, LA leads the USA in setting its trends, where I think we'd be the fifth largest economy just on our own. And so, yeah, there's no place like California. It's 70 and perfect almost every day. Um, I could never see myself living in any other place than California.
I mean, when I went to San Francisco in April, I was literally fucking blown away. Like it was literally by the wind. I was like blown away. It was gale, and it was like Scottish weather.
Yeah, yeah. Well, San Francisco can be cold for sure. Now, I'm a Southern California transplant, so we like it down here about 70, sunny and perfect, and about a couple fish tacos and maybe a margarita at noon every day. So we'll take that.
And well, just while I mentioned San Francisco, there, have you ever been? Like, I thought it was a really cool place to visit.
San Francisco to LA is like a 6 hour drive.
Is it?
Yeah,
Fucking hell. You you
yeah.
wouldn't think you wouldn't think they were in the same state, man. Jesus.
It's well, one's pretty south and one's pretty north. So yeah, that's about 6 hours. And if you can take like all coast go up there, but then it's like closer to seven.
That's mental, honestly. How is America function like that, man? Jesus.
Oh yeah,
It's
I'm not getting into those conversations on this podcast. That's a different podcast for you.
fair enough. And like in terms of like yourself, like how would you kind of like unwind and relax? Like how would you kind of like off the course?
Chill. Yeah, so I love tennis shoes. So if you ever see me caddy, I'm always in Jordans. It's an ode to my best buddy Josh Williams, who started it when he started working for Madeline Sagstrom years ago on the Epson Tour that he brought to the LPGA. So I love shopping for sneakers. I love wine, so I love tasting different wines and collecting. We got a good collection at the house now. Um, so yeah, I would say those two big. I love going out to eat. Big foodie. Um, and that's about it.
Remind me
Food
never
and
to
wine. I mean, what more could you want, right?
remind me never to come to your household with all the wine. Jesus Christ,
Come
that
on,
way, like,
come on. We'll pour you up something nice.
I'll be absolutely wasted.
Well, that's the intent, Greg.
No, I know, I know, I know.
we
I know
don't we
you.
don't we don't drink it just to make it look good.
I know you're just being friendly, etc., and being a good host, but like you got to think of the little 5'9" Scotsman. You know what I mean?
Hey, it ain't Guinness. I'll tell you that.
To be fair, I don't mind the Guinness. It's okay, but
Oh,
we'll end on that bombshell. I quite like a Guinness. There you go. So, Scotty, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, as you prepare to gear up for a full season on the LPGA Tour with Ingrid, obviously, all the best for all the best for the season. Hopefully, it goes well for you.
thanks, Greg. I really appreciate it. I think I've told you before, but I'm a fan of the work. I'm a fan of the podcast.
I don't know
We need
why.
more.
I don't know why.
Well, hey, listen, we need more people covering the women's game. I think you do a really good job. Some of the interviews and players you've gotten are great, and you look into this year for you. I think just keep making it bigger and better. And let's get some major winners on here. Let's get some girls on here, and anything that we can all do to elevate women in this game, I think is a good thing. And you're one of the leaders of doing that. And I couldn't be more happy to come on and talk some golf with you.
I mean, stop it! I'm blushing. But I'm blushing. Stop it. No, like all the best for 2025, and I'll hopefully see you down the road at some point.
My man, you know the number and how to get a hold of me anytime, buddy.
Cheers, man. Thank you. All the best.
All right.